So, Eric, looking at this report from the MND, the Defense Ministry, not much has moved in the sense of the $19 billion worth of weapons that are backlogged and have yet to be delivered to Taiwan. But there's one sale specifically in 2017, this deal for tow missiles to Taiwan. Can you really quickly first describe why are tow missiles important for Taiwan's defense?
The TOW missile is a relatively small, relatively portable anti-tank weapon. For Taiwan, you need a lot of things like this to offset Chinese advantages in armored vehicles. Right, the Chinese just have a lot of them, and anti-tank weapons in the hands of infantry that can be, in the case of this particular sale, right, mounted to the top of Humvees they're Humvees. They're very mobile, uh, just like a car. Having large numbers of those that can move around easily is really advantageous to Taiwan in a invasion defense scenario, right? Because you can use these things against, it's optically guided, right? So you can use them against landing craft coming ashore, tanks, groups of infantry, right? It's a very versatile anti-ground force weapon.
What is this saying then about perhaps maybe the United States' ability to produce weapons like these tow missiles?
But to have nothing this far after for such a simple capability, I think is really damning on the U.S. defense industrial base. I think it's really damning on the attention that is given to Taiwan, and it shows a real mismatch between American rhetoric and actual prioritization. I think as a good matter for what Taiwan should do is really invest in domestically made systems, right? That don't depend on the United States or anyone else for import of critical components in order to do. And it might not be exactly the same as something like the TOW, but you could get to something relatively similar. And Taiwan's defense industry is pretty good.
Now, you talked about Taiwan's domestic capacity to make these weapons. Do you think going forward that's going to be feasible? Can Taiwan make enough of these weapons for its defense?
I think the big problem that Taiwan faces is the scale at which it can produce, right? And I think that means sustained investment in Taiwan's defense industrial base to increase its size, right? And maybe co-production agreements or trying to seek ways for U.S. company cooperation is one way to do that. If the U.S. defense industry is really falling short, I mean, this relates to a lot of debates that the U.S. has right now about the prioritization of Taiwan versus Ukraine, right? And this idea that I think that the warning lights are flashing in the sense that there's a lot of demand for American-made weaponry around the world right now, especially in the aftermath of the Ukraine war. And for the last 2 years, Taiwanese government officials, including the now vice president, have been very vocal about saying there is zero trade-off, right? There is no trade-off between America supporting Taiwan and America supporting Ukraine. I think that is going to become less true over time, especially if the Ukraine war drags on.